Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to use RoboCell robotic arm simulation software. Whenever you're using RoboCell, the first thing you want to do is start a new cell setup. So what we're going to do here is in our search bar, we're just going to type in cell setup and we're going to click here and get started. So this is what RoboCell looks like. The first thing we want to do here is to add a robot, add a table with these dimensions, and add a cube, a 40 by 40 by 40 cube with this position, and then we're going to save it here. Okay, so let's go ahead and expand this. So we're going to go to File. Let's see here. I'm sorry. New, and we're going to select a robot, and we're going to select an ER4U, and hit OK. And we want no slide base in this case, and it's going to place it by default here, right in the middle. Now we want to add a table, so we'll double click here on General, and then we'll click on Table, double click on it, and we want to make it 1000. Hit the tab button, 1000 here. Okay. And you can change the color or whatever you want. I'm just going to keep it as the default gray and hit OK. Okay, and I'm going to place it right there. And now to move things, okay, we can move them. Let's select that button and we're going to drag it so that our robot is basically centered right here. Okay, and the next thing we want to add here is a materials, and we're going to hit a cube. Okay, and it's 40 by 40 by 40, so those are the default settings. Okay, let's go ahead and hit OK. And we're going to place it right there. Okay. All right, now let's position our cube. If you double click on the cube, let's go to position. And if you recall, it should be, well, let's go back to our assignment. 400 x, y, 0. So 400, tab, 0, and hit OK. Okay, now when you're using when you're using cell setup, if you right click and you move your mouse forward or backwards, you can zoom in and zoom out. Okay, if you use the mouse wheel, you can basically move around, okay, in a vertical position, okay? And if you right click, you can also hover side to side here, okay? So there's basically our cube where we want it. I'm gonna zoom in here, all right underneath our robot. It's also worth mentioning that your cube or whatever it is you're having the robot pick up or move needs to be within the work envelope of the robot. And one way to figure that out is if you right click, or if you, you double click on the robot and you click show envelope, okay? It needs to be within this area. Anything outside of this area, we won't be able to pick up, okay? When we did CNC machining, okay, if you recall, Y goes towards you and away from you. Well, in robotics, it's the exact opposite. It's X. So replace X with Y and Y with X because the X and the Y axes are switched, basically. The nice thing is of course, Z still goes up and down. So now that we're done with our cell setup, let's go ahead and save it, okay, because we're going to reference this here in a bit. And you can just call it pick and place or wherever, okay, and maybe with your last name, and hit save. Coming back to our assignment here, let's look at procedure step number 4 here. So we want to do two things. All right, we want to complete the operation here using the positions down below here. So we want to initially pick up a cube, lift it straight up a short distance here, move the arm straight back toward the base a short distance, place the cube back on the table, okay? And then we're going to release the cube from our previous position here. And then we're going to move back to home. These are the positions we're interested in. Okay, position 1 here. Okay, we're going to lift it up to position 11. Okay, and then we're going to move it over here, okay, to position 12, and then we're going to move it down to position 2, and then come back to position 99. Okay, and now that we're done with that, let's come over here, and we're going to just type in RoboCell, and let's go ahead and click on it. And it's probably going to take a second to start up here. All right, now you want to go to File, and we want to open our cell setup that we just made. So we want to reference that file that we just saved. And mine was in RoboCell assignments here. So and right here, pick and place, hit OK. OK. All right, so now that RoboCell is open, okay, there's a couple windows we need to learn about. Over here is where we're going to write our programming sequence here. That basically tells our robotic arm what to do. Down here is where we're going to kind of enter the coordinates, where we basically assign motion in XYZ locations for the robot. Okay, and here's where we kind of control the robot. We have our XYZ and joints. And over here we have our commands, which basically essentially tell the robot what to do. So you'll notice if you click on the plus signs, you can expand these and see what they're used for here. Okay. So up here, you're going to want to click Pro. And now what that will give us a lot more commands here, as you'll see. And it allows us to expand and do a lot more with our robot. Okay. And one of the things you've noticed is that, well, we did our cell setup. So where is that cell? Where is that cell located on here? So to see it, we can go to Window and select here Window, Simulation, and Teach. Okay, and now it kind of collapses everything in a nice orderly manner here where we can see our robot, our commands, our programming workspace, our teach positions, and our manual movements here. All right, so before we proceed, make sure, like I said, you're in Pro mode and you've gone over here to Window to Simulation and Teach. All right, so before we start recording positions here, we need to basically move the robot to that desired location in order for us to record that position. So to do so, we need to learn how to basically move the robot around. So there's a couple ways we can use X, Y, Z or joints. Okay, so basically these buttons right here will open the gripper and close the gripper. Okay, so you notice we just opened it. And then if you look at position 1 in Q here, all right, well, that rotates the robot side to side on its base. Okay, W and 2 moves it on the shoulder. Okay, E, you'll notice right here, in 3, move it on the elbow. Okay, and 5, or excuse me, 4 and R here on the wrist. And then 5, okay, we'll adjust the pitch. And then there's different ways too. We can just simply tell it to go to X, Y, and Z coordinates. Okay, so when you move these, you'll notice that it moves in the X direction. Okay, in other words, forward or backwards. And then Y, well, you might have guessed, side to side. And then Z, up and down. Okay, and I usually use X, Y, and Z. It's a little simpler. And because it moves multiple joints at the same time. All right, and then once again over here, you can adjust the speed. So, you know, you can move it a lot faster here. So if you want to come down, or excuse me, across and down, okay, you can basically see how it works. Another way to move the robot, if we come on up here to View, okay, Robot Movement, you'll get this nice little window here, and you can move it, okay, according to these arrows, okay, which is also helpful. All right. All right, the last way to kind of control the robot, and this is only done in the simulation, is if we use these 3 little guys right up here, these 3 buttons. This button right here, if we hover over it, okay, it'll tell you to basically go directly to an object. Let's first open our gripper, okay, and now, okay, come back here and it says send robot to object. So if we click on that button and we click on our object, it'll go directly to the object. All right, but let's say we don't want to go directly to the object and we want to go right above it. Well, we can come to this button and go send robot above point. So click there,
and then click there. All right. And this is a great shortcut. Now let's say we want to go back to our home position. Well, one way we can do that, okay, is to hit escape and come over here to reset work cell. And this will just bring us everything back to normal. All right. And then this hand here is also handy if you want to move stuff around. And remember, right click is zoom. Okay. And you can move, hover side to side, and your mouse will tilt it up and down. All right. So let's go ahead and start recording position. All right. So the first thing we're going to want to do is to record our home position here. So it's already in the home position. All right. So we can just type right here, position 99. Okay. And that was our assignment. If you remember, home position, we called it 99. All right. And then we're going to click right here where it says record position. All right. And then if you recall, our assignment also told us to go down to position 11, which is directly above it. So we're going to basically, okay, use this button we just talked about, and we're going to click there, and let's open our gripper here. We're going to call that 11. All right. And then we're going to basically record that position. And now we want to actually go down and pick it up. So we're going to come back over to this button here. Okay. And then click on it. All right. And then we're going to want to basically call that position 1. All right. And record that position. All right. Now let's go ahead and close our gripper. And we're going to come back here to position 1. Or excuse me, position 11. And this button here will go to that position. So we're going to come on up. And now we're going to move it back, okay? And if you recall, like I said, remember this isn't a CNC machine or a 3D printer. This is the robotics, so X moves it backwards. Okay, so we're going to move it back. Oh, that's probably okay. And then that's our new position, okay? And we're going to call that position 12, and we're going to hit record. And don't forget to hit record because I've done it before and you got to go back. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and set it down. So we're just going to come over here to Z. Okay, and we're just going to place it down on the surface. And if you get a crash error, that's okay. That's why we're doing a simulation. And you just hit OK, and we're going to call that position 2 and record. All right, now it's time to go ahead and start running our program, but the first thing we need to do is to add 4 remarks here. Our activity, our name, our period, and our date. So let's go ahead and do that. If you just click over here and you type in RE, okay, so we're going to call it activity pick and place. Hit OK. And then we're going to type in RE again, our name. OK. And RE, period. OK. And the date. Hit OK. All right, so now let's go ahead and start writing our programming here. So what we're going to do here now is go ahead and reset our work cell here. All right, and I'm going to zoom in here just kind of one more time. All right, and now to start programming here, we're basically going to use most of these icons right here. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to want to tell the robot to go to position home. So when you hit to go to position, home is, if you recall, 99, and we're going to do it fast. Hit OK. All right, and then now that we're at home, we're going to want to come down here to position 11. So we're going to want to go to position 11, and we'll go fast. OK. And now we're going to want to open our gripper. Okay. And now we're going to want to now be careful here because we're not going to use a go to position. In this case, now we're going to use a linear position. We're going to want to go straight down. Okay. So we're going to click on go to linear position, and our target position is 1. Okay, and we'll just use a speed of 50% in this case. Okay, and hit go. Oh, excuse me, okay. And then we're going to come back up in a linear movement to position 11. Oops, and I'm forgetting something. We need to close our gripper here. And now we need to go back up to position 11. Okay, and we'll keep our speed at 50, hit OK. And then we're going to want to come over and go in a linear position again now to position 12, speed of 50, okay. And then we're going to want to set it down in location 2. So we're going to use a linear, target position 2, speed of 50, hit OK. And then we're going to want to lift back up in a linear position, right back to position 12, okay, and a speed of 50, okay. And then we're going to want to basically now go to position, back to home to 99, okay, and we'll go a speed of fast and hit OK. And you may be looking at this going, uh-oh, he forgot something. And you're right, I did. And this might happen to you, and it probably will happen to you at some point throughout these assignments. So notice here we go to position 11. Okay, we close gripper, we come back up to position 11, 12, then we set it down. Okay, and then we go to position 2. Now right here, I need to open gripper. So if you mess up, you come over here to commands. Okay, you come over here, you want to open gripper. What you do is, if you want it at position line 13, type in the code here, OG, and it will open the gripper here. And then it will come back up to position 12, and then go back to our home position. Okay, now let's go ahead and simulate it. Before we simulate it though, one thing you want to do is you want to make sure you click right here on this show robot path. Okay, and what that will do is it'll show the robot path essentially. And you're going to make sure you want to do that because when you go to take a snippet of this assignment, you need to make sure that you have shown the robot path here. Okay, so let's go ahead now and run our code. And to run our code, right here, we're going to do run a single line, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so we're going to curve down. Okay, open up our gripper, come down, straight, come back, close our gripper, come back straight, come backwards, straight, come down, straight, open up gripper, come back to 12, and then come back to our home position. Okay, it looks good. All right, so make sure you get your screen snippets for your submission form, and I hope this helped you. Thank you.